Force of friction. Have you ever wondered why a ball moving on the floor stops after some time? Who stops it? Even a moving car comes to stop as we apply brake to it. Why? Why is it difficult to walk on a smooth surface like ice? Why do you put talcum powder on your carom board as it gets older? Answer to all these questions is friction. Let us understand nature of friction with the help of an activity. Keep a book on the table. Give it a gentle push. What do you observe? You observe that the book stops after traveling some distance. Possibly some force tried to stop it from the direction opposite to the motion of the book. Now push the book in the direction opposite to the previous direction of motion. What do you observe? You observe that again the book stops after traveling some distance. This means that again there was some force to stop it from the direction opposite to the motion of the book. What is this force which always opposes the relative motion? The force which tries to stop a moving object. It is the force of friction. And now we understand that it acts opposite to the applied force. Factors affecting friction. In the previous chapter we studied that friction depends on the nature of the surface which is in contact with the moving body. Let us now understand how friction changes with the change in the type of contact surface. Make an inclined surface with the help of a wooden board. Mark a point on the upper end of the inclined surface. Now take a pencil and place it on the marked point. Slide the pencil from the marked point. Note down the distance traveled by the pencil as it slides on the floor. Now place a cloth over the floor. Slide the pencil again from the marked point. Note down the distance traveled by the pencil. Do you find any change in the distance traveled by the pencil? Now put some sand on the floor. Again slide a pencil from the marked point. Note down the distance traveled by the pencil this time. Now as we compare the three readings of the distance covered by the pencil in the three cases, we'll see that when there was nothing on floor, the pencil traveled maximum, and when there was sand on the floor, the pencil traveled minimum. This indicates that the sand offered maximum friction to the pencil, and hence the pencil stopped after traveling a small distance only. Let us now understand why different surfaces offer different friction. Cause of friction is irregularities in the surface. These irregularities get interlocked with each other, and hence we have to apply more amount of force to overcome this interlocking. Also, if we press two surfaces harder, their irregularities get interlocked and hence increasing the overall friction. A rough surface is more irregular than a smooth surface, hence has more friction. But there are many small irregularities on the smooth surfaces too. That means even smooth surfaces have friction, though it is lesser than the rough surfaces. Static friction and sliding friction. Have you tried to move a heavy box which was at rest and a box which is already in motion? Do you apply the same force on both? No. It is easier to move a box which is already in motion than the box which was initially at rest. Why is this so? Following are the types of friction. Static friction, the friction which opposes the motion of an object at rest. Sliding friction, the friction which opposes the motion of a moving object. Now as a force is applied to move an object at rest, the contact points on the surface of the box are interlocked with the contact points on the floor. But as the box starts moving, there is no enough time for contact points on the surface of the box to lock with the contact point on the floor. It means sliding friction is lesser than the static friction. That is why it is easier to move an already moving box. Methods of increasing friction. Soles of our shoes are grooved purposely to provide them a good grip on the road while walking. Tires of the vehicles are specially treated so as to have a good grip on the road and have less chances of slipping while moving and taking turns on the road. In the bicycles and other automobiles, brake pads are used for increasing friction. Although brake pads do not touch the wheels, but as brake lever is pressed, the brake pads are still able to lock the motion of rim due to friction. Kabaddi players rub sand on their hands to increase friction and hence achieve better grip on their opponents. Rolling friction. Look at the football. Let's kick the football. It stops after rolling to some distance. Why does the ball stop? Yes, it stops due to force of friction which is acting on the ball on the ground and acting against the ball towards the direction of rolling. This friction is known as rolling friction. Friction, a necessary evil. Friction has many uses in our daily life, but at the same time, it is not always good for us. Let us discuss the uses and the harms of friction and understand how it is a necessary evil for us. Friction helps us in walking on the road. On slippery surfaces, it is difficult to walk because of less friction. Friction helps us writing with a pen, pencil or chalk. As we write with a chalk on the board, the rough surface of the board rubs off the chalk particles which stick to the board. Friction helps the things to come to a stop. Without friction, no vehicle can stop on the road. Buildings are constructed because of the interlocking of rough surfaces with each other. That means, without friction, even buildings cannot be constructed. Friction is needed to fix a nail on the wall. We cannot fix a nail on the frictionless surface or smooth surface. If there is no friction, then we cannot light a matchstick. Matchstick box has a rough surface. As we rub the matchstick against it, the heat is produced due to friction and the matchstick lights up. We have discussed many uses of friction and we have seen how crucial it is for us. Now let us see the other side of friction. Soles of our shoes are torn out because of friction. As we walk on a very rough surface having more friction, it tears our footwear. As we have seen that friction causes heat. In big and small machines such as sewing machine and factory machine. So much heat is released due to friction that over a period of time they get damaged. Tires of vehicles get damaged because of excess friction. So, we have seen that although friction is crucially used in our daily life, but it is harmful for us too. That is why we call it a necessary evil. Fluid friction. Fluid is a common name for liquids and gases. Till now, we have seen friction offered by surfaces which are solid. Now we shall learn about the friction offered by fluids. Fluids offer the friction to the objects moving through them. This friction is called fluid friction. A ship moving through water and an aeroplane moving through air experience fluid friction. Due to this, moving objects lose more energy in just fighting friction and hence are not able to travel a desired distance in the given amount of fuel. Fluid friction depends on the relative speed of the moving object with respect to the fluid. Shape of the moving object and nature of the fluid. You might have seen the bodies and the shape of fishes and birds. They have a streamlined shape which can easily cut through the water and the air and hence overcome the fluid friction. That is why aeroplanes and ships are also made streamlined in order to experience minimum fluid friction. Methods of reducing friction. When your carom board gets old and its surface becomes rough due to wear and tear, it is difficult to play on it. So, talcum powder is sprinkled on it in order to increase the smoothness and hence reduce the friction. To reduce the damage caused by friction in the machinery parts and slippery substances such as oil, grease and graphite are used in order to reduce the friction. When doors get jammed due to friction, oil is used on the hinges of the doors to make the door open smoothly. Oiling, greasing or applying graphite reduces friction because when these are applied on the surface, they form a layer and hence do not allow parts to rub with each other. In other words, they control the interlocking of the surface and hence reduce friction. Such substances are called lubricants. A film of air trapped between the moving parts also acts to reduce friction.